Hi, and welcome to this week's lesson on contractions. I hope you enjoyed compound words, and I'm hoping that you're spotting compound words in your house. And there is a compound word in this lesson. Let's see if you can find it. I give you a hint. Okay, so contractions. A contraction is a shortened form of two words. Many contractions are made by joining a verb and the word not. An apostrophe replaces the letter or letters that are left out. So I want to show you a few contractions using the word not on my handy dandy fridge whiteboard. Just a second. Okay, as you can see, I have two smaller words, do and not. In order to make this a contraction, I take off the O and I replace it with an apostrophe. The apostrophe takes the place of the letter O to make a new word. Don't. As in, I don't like eggplant. Don't. Don't means do not. Okay, so here's another one using the word not. Were not. They were not ready to go to the park. Okay, so we have two separate words, were and not. Think in your head, what letter do you think I'm going to take away to make weren't? You're right. When we're using the word not, we take away the O, we add an apostrophe, and we make our new word. Weren't. They weren't ready to go to the park. Okay, so I want you to remember that sometimes contractions are made using a pronoun. Now, do you remember what a pronoun is? A pronoun is a noun that takes the place of a noun. So let's say Miss Tidwell is the noun. In a sentence, Miss Tidwell likes Diet Coke. What would you replace it with? She. She likes Diet Coke. She is the pronoun. We're going to be working on contractions using pronouns today, and I'm going to show you a few in a minute. Okay, so a contraction can sometimes be formed by joining a pronoun and a verb. Remember, what's a contraction? What do you think? A contraction is a shortened form of two words. Many contractions are made by joining a pronoun and a verb. An apostrophe replaces any letter or letters that are left out. Let's do a little practice on the fridge whiteboard. Okay, so I want you to look at our two sets of words. I am, she is, he is, they are. Now, what are the pronouns? The pronouns are I, she, he, they, just as a refresher. The verbs are am, is, and are. So, in order to make a contraction with these two words, for I and am, we are going to take off the A and add a what? An apostrophe to make a new word, I'm. Instead of I am really hungry, we can say I'm really hungry. Now look at she is. What would you take off? Where would you put the apostrophe? Think about it. Let's look at it. She is. She is tired. How would we make that into she's? We would go like this. She's tired. We would take the I and replace it with an apostrophe. How about the contraction to make he's for he is? How do we make that into a contraction? Well, we take the he, we take off this I, we replace it with an apostrophe, he's. He's my best friend. Now let's look at the last one. They are. They are ready to watch the movie. How do we turn that one into a a contraction. There. They, take off the A, add an apostrophe, are. Here's our new words. I'm, she's, he's, they're, using the pronouns I, she, he, and they. Now, we're gonna do our next little part. I want you to meet a couple of my friends who've come to visit. They're gonna do a little skit for you. And let's see if you can identify the words they turn into contractions.
Oh dear, I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am.
I don't like green eggs and ham. I don't like them, Sam I am.
Were not these the most delightful morsels? Oh dear, I think that the children of the house have eaten all the tasty morsels. Were they not the most delicious?
No, they weren't.
I am sure we will have guests for dinner.
I'm sure the guests will rustle up some victuals. Did you notice that cowgirl is a compound word? I'm going to read you a story that has contractions in it. And when you hear the contraction, I want you to jump up out of your seat. Okay? Let's see if you can do this from home. So here's the title of the book, Giraffes Can't Dance. I hope you jumped out of your seat when you heard the word can't. This is by Giles Andre, and Guy Parker Reese is the illustrator. Do you think giraffes can dance? This book says they can't. Giraffes can't dance. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim, but his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. I didn't see any contractions in that one. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees, but when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Do you see any contractions yet? Not yet. Now, every year in Africa, they hold the jungle dance where every single animal turns up to skip and prance. And this year when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad because when it came to dancing, he was really very bad. No contractions yet. The warthog started waltzing and the rhinos rock and rolled. The lion danced a tango that was elegant and bold. The chimps all did a cha-cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked toward the floor, but the lions saw him coming and they soon began to roar. "Hey, look at clumsy Gerald," the animals all sneered. "Giraffes can't," did you jump up? "Dance, you silly fool." "Oh, Gerald, you're so weird." Did you jump up at your? You are. Oh, poor Gerald. Gerald simply froze up. He was rooted to the spot. There. Right, he thought, I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot. So he crept off from the dance floor and he started walking home. He'd never felt so sad before, so sad and so alone. Oh. Then he found a little clearing and he looked up at the sky. The moon can be so beautiful, he whispered with a sigh. Excuse me, coughed a cricket who'd seen Gerald earlier on. But sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song. Did you hear the two in there? Who'd is who did, and your is you are. I'm going to scooch. Let's see. Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that the lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to. With that, the cricket smiled and picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves had started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying and his tail was swishing round. He threw his arms out sideways and he swung them in the air. Then he did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful, his mouth was open wide. I am dancing! Yes, I'm dancing! I am dancing, Gerald cried. Do you see that? I am dancing. Yes, I'm. I hope you jumped up right there. Dancing. Then one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream. Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen." Did you hear that? It's who'd, we've. Who'd is who did. It's is it is. We've is we have. I hope you jumped up 3 times. How did you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how. But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow. Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and stars above. We all can dance, he said, when we find the music that we love.